So Anthem's VIP demo that happened this weekend was pretty terrible. There's no real way around it. There was so many problems that made the game literally unplayable for a lot of people, myself included. I had the 95% load screen bug far too many times to count, but even when you could get into the game, there was rubber banding, there was just so many bugs, such as not being able to use abilities or your ultimate when you wanted to, and it boils down to the game not being as good as some of the previous playtests that I've had. I've been able to play the game on 3 occasions before the VIP demo. The first was the alpha, which we can't really talk about, the second was a playtest in Stockholm mid-December, and then of course I was at the event last week, which was the capture event in London. And after playing that playtest with a build that was pretty much close to the final build of the game, I was shocked at the difference between that build and then the build that we had in the VIP demo, and I wished I could have showed you the difference, but then I realized that I can. So in this video, I really want to highlight the gameplay footage that we had last week from the event, show where the game is a lot better in the build that we played last week in comparison to the VIP demo, as well as just go over my big issues with the weekend as a whole. But for the most part, I'm glad that people went into the game, really understood what Anthem was about, and really enjoyed their experience. And if that was you, then do comment below. I really want to hear your guys' experience from the VIP demo, whether it was good, whether it's terrible, whether you were on the fence and now like the game, or actually are going to give it a pass. I desperately want to hear what you guys think, because I'm very concerned at the moment about how Anthem is being perceived right now, when the game that I've previously played before was really, really good. But for those that were left a little bit sour, there is reason to hope. My name is Ryan Central. You can sub for more Anthem content if you'd like, but we do have a giveaway going on at the moment for a Legion of Dawn edition of the game, and a runner-up will get a standard copy. Enter in the comments below, super straightforward to enter. The gameplay in the background that you've been watching was from the VIP demo, a typical stronghold. You're kind of used to the typical lookout of this. I ran this stronghold a fair few times over the weekend, and I did have a lot of fun. I'll talk about where the fun really started to happen for me with Anthem in the VIP demo towards the end of the video. But I just wanted to show this so you get a good idea of kind of how the gameplay looks. But now we'll switch over to some of the gameplay doing the same stronghold from the playtest event last week. This is really important to know. In that playtest that we had last week, we played 3 sections of the game. Very early game, from basically the start of the game. Then we played the section of the game that would be in the VIP demo, so we were boosted up to level 10. We had the mission to play and also the stronghold, of course, that you're seeing in the background. Then a couple of hours later, we were brought up to max level to do some endgame stuff, which I can't talk about just yet. The reason why I bring this up is that we didn't play the VIP demo as such. We played a pretty sturdy build with all of the game in it, beginning, middle and end, and we got to experience the content from the VIP demo in the actual almost final product. Considering that the game went gold later on last week, I imagine that the playtest build that we had was very close to being the final product, and it ran like an absolute dream. There was no optimization problems, the load screens were fairly quick, and just minor stuff like when going into the forge, the load screens there weren't super long. And also in previous tests, we've been able to run in Fort Tarsus, which is very weird that we weren't able to in the VIP demo. You could see a lot of different bits and pieces from the gameplay that you just don't see in the VIP demo. For example, the UI showing where your teammates are, their shield and armor health. Not only that, the primer and detonator icons are a little bit different, and all of the UI just looks a little bit cleaner and easier to see. Objectives are sort of marked on the map so you can see exactly where you need to go. And whilst none of this is major stuff, especially what you can see, it really makes a difference to the quality of life stuff that people are sort of asking for now that they played the VIP demo. Like I just said, this is what you see. The game plays a little bit too, but I can't really remember off the top of my head or compare the two right now, but I didn't have half as many problems playing the playtest last week than I seem to do in the VIP demo. So Ryan, I hear you ask, why is this the case? Why is the VIP demo so different to what you played? Well, 6 weeks ago, the VIP demo was created, and it was created from an older build as almost like a carbon copy. They took the subsection of the game that would be in the VIP demo, the 3 missions, the stronghold from level 10, and they copied it over to its own separate state. But from there, the build that went on to be the final build of the game had bug fixes, quality of life changes, and was just generally tightened up a lot more than a VIP demo that maybe was balanced but at a much slower rate, or didn't have as much time invested into it. Hence why the VIP demo felt a lot more flat than I'd say the playtest was last week. I don't really want the whole video to be just comparing the two, but I really did want to highlight that the optimization, the performance, the load screens, the way that the game ran was 10 times better than it was in the demo. Now that might be just because it was effectively a LAN, so there was no service to worry about and we were on high-end PCs. But my PC here at home isn't too bad either. It should be performing a lot better with the game than it was was that weekend. I can absolutely tell you for a fact though that overheating wasn't half as much of a problem in the playtest that it was in the VIP demo. The system belongs in the game to stop people from flying or hovering too long, but it was just at an obnoxious level in the VIP demo, especially when you get hit by lightning or fire abilities and you instantly overheat. A wyvern just sneezes at you and you immediately hurl to the ground. I think the most frustrating thing about the system though is you don't know really how long you're overheated for, or at least it's not very clear. And also doing stuff like jumping in the air keeps you overheated for longer, and I don't ever remember it being this much of a problem in the playtest than it was in the VIP demo. In fact, looking back at some of the other gameplay, I seem to be hovering for a lot longer than I did beforehand, but who really knows at this point? Certainly watching back the gameplay that you've seen on screen, the abilities and the guns all felt really solid. And ultimately, I left that playtest with no concerns about the game. The frustrating thing is that the VIP demo has brought a lot back that I haven't even really worried about for a good amount of weeks. This definitely plays a lot closer to the playtest that we had in Stockholm than it did the playtest last week, which is understandable really, because the VIP demo was conceived around that time. But this basically boils down to the fact that these first impressions of Anthem matter a lot, and you've seen the sort of effect that they've had online with other YouTubers that specialize in inverted commas, reviewing games, or just doing general impressions, you know, and then also just online on Twitter and certain publication pieces. A lot of people were looking forward to Anthem, and I really don't feel that the VIP demo did the full game justice, and that's not me trying to be biased, that's me having experienced playing the game in 3 separate states beforehand, feeling that the VIP demo almost took a step back. Some of my favourite streamers, such as people like Seagull and Gaffalion, went in and really enjoyed the game, and it's nice to see a lot of people play it and go, yeah, this is actually pretty good. I think even Jim Sterling saying that the game was fine was a lot better than what I was expected to hear from him. So all in all, I think the general consensus of Anthem as a whole is pretty good, but I think it could have been better. But I kind of wanted to go over my impressions of the VIP demo and where it was good, where it was bad. I like the fact that most people, when they got into the game, really got to experience what the game is all about. And I heard a lot of people, especially from subs on Discord for example, saying that they had a lot of fun. They got to play the class that they wanted to play and it was everything that they ever dreamed of. And it was honestly really relieving that a lot of those players that were really excited for the game that haven't played it up to now still went in and had a hell of a lot of fun and want to see more. Ultimately, I think they are the opinions that matter to BioWare, EA, and of course, me personally, as opposed to some people that weren't interested in looter shooters as such, but looked at Anthem wanting to see what it was about, to see whether it was good or not. It's good to know that the die-hard Anthem community came out of the VIP demo fairly satisfied, wanting to play more. I didn't really have a problem too much with the way that abilities, gunplay and flying really worked. Maybe that's because I've got used to it over all of this time. I feel a lot of players hated certain aspects of how the game worked to begin with, but as time went on they started to understand it and started to appreciate certain aspects. I know I was the same with the Storm. I really didn't like it to begin with, but as I played more and more of it, I really started to warm to its playstyle and how it moved in comparison to the other javelins. The open world is beautiful, if not a bit samey. I'd hate to use the word generic because the outlook is really nice, but it would be nice to have some different biomes, maybe a bit of an ice area, but that's certainly open to future stuff down the line, certain areas of the map opening up for future stuff. But granted, we only got to experience a chunk of the free play map in comparison. There are certain different areas, for example, but for some reason they were all locked off for the VIP demo, which is a shame. The Stronghold was really fun. I ran it about a dozen times in total, and every time it wasn't boring, it didn't feel samey. The dialogue got a little bit annoying to be honest, but other than that, I could still play the same Stronghold over and over again because of the different javelins and different playstyles and stuff that you can run. And with friends, it's even more amazing. It's just a really good looter shooter, dungeon crawling kind of game. Even the missions themselves were pretty fun. They had good bosses at the end of each mission. I was intrigued with the story. Matthias is a character that kind of grates on me a little bit, but now after that I feel a little bit more interested in him personally, his storyline and what happens next, which I did before this VIP demo to be fair. The one thing that I really feel held BioWare and Anthem back was the fact that you were bottlenecked right at the start of the game. Only being able to run the Ranger from level 10 to 12 and then unlocking another Javelin felt pointless to me. I feel that players should have been able to pick the 2 Javelins that they wanted from the start, or better yet, had all the Javelins unlocked straight away. I don't see the reason why BioWare would want people to start on the Ranger to begin with for 2 levels to then unlock another character. I just don't really understand that mentality, why that felt necessary. But not only that, you had a Ranger that had no abilities that you could change or spice up with. A lot of the really cool missions that we'd seen in free play weren't in this build for some reason, but again, that's because it was an older build. But I don't want to feel like that's an excuse. I think the demo is fun, it does exactly what BioWare want it to do, it's a slice of the game to keep people wanting more. But it took me a good few hours to get into that groove that I was like, yes, this is what I liked about Anthem in the first place. The whole gearing up, trying different abilities, having all 4 javelins to go out and do stuff on in Stronghold's missions and free play was really engaging and interesting. And I feel that's the element of the game that's really going to catch people, but people had to dedicate so much time to be able to do that in the first place. Even as somebody that's managed to do all of the stuff in the game various amount of times, I'm still looking forward to play it in the open demo. Even though I'm basically max gear level on all of the different javelins, I still want to play to see what gear I get, to get the best builds I can, to just experiment and try stuff out. And I feel that's a credit to what Anthem's really good at. The replayability factor of Anthem is there. But it still just sucks from my perspective that the amazing experience I had this time last week from the playtest wasn't really seen in the VIP demo, not only because the game just wasn't as tight as the playtest, but also all of the various problems that people had. They leave a real big impact and a really bad first impression on a lot of players, and now looking at this game as being really disappointing, lackluster in a lot of cases, and just not up to the task of leading the genre that it's trying to. So this isn't me being too critical of the game as such. There's a lot of stuff that I'd like to see in the game. For example, the game desperately needs text chat. Everything else comes second nature to that. But I definitely left this weekend really gutted that you guys didn't experience the same awesome game that I did at the playtest. And I feel any bad experiences that people had with this game, they're going to take on with them for the rest of Anthem's lifespan. And with any luck, the free demo and the game's launch will be a lot less rockier. Otherwise, I do think the BioWare are going to be in a lot of trouble. But I am really interested to hear what you guys think, whether you managed to play the game and were really happy with what you experienced, or whether you played the game and it was nothing like you expected it to be, and you left the weekend upset and angry that this game wasn't for you. I am really interested to hear what you guys think in the comments, and whilst I understand what BioWare did by having a 6-week-old VIP demo that they had to certify fairly early on, I do wonder if there was a better way of going about this, because I think everybody in the Anthem community, to an extent, is left with egg on their face. Saying that, BioWare did a really good job at responding to a lot of stuff. Being able to unlock all the 4 javelins on one account and also another vinyl does make up for the problems that people probably expected would happen, but the cynicism surrounding Anthem seems to have amplified to an extent. And as a person that really enjoys this game, I wouldn't be making this content if I didn't. That just leaves me super bummed out, I suppose. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, a little bit different to what we've done previously, and I'll see you next time. Take care and look after yourself.